you follow my channel, you know that I am a huge LeBron James fan. In fact, I'm on record saying that he's my GOAT. However, I have to admit that after doing my Dominique video showing how deep the opposition was in the East back during Dominique's run, I had to recognize how strong Jordan was and what Jordan went through. I think I've changed my mind on who the GOAT really is. Come on in here, let's talk about it. What it do, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. While you in here, hit that like, comment, subscribe, notification bell so you can be notified every time Takes uploads a new video. Yeah, I have to admit, during that research, it's kind of like I had an awakening. Because I'm old school and I actually lived the Jordan days. I watched every game. One of his biggest fans, just like I am with LeBron today. And you know the old saying, out of sight, out of mind. I think that's probably what happened with me as it relates to knowing that Jordan is the GOAT. But doing that research, oh my God. It's just so much overwhelming data that supports the Jordan GOAT debate. Honestly, for me, what it ended up being was the lack of drive, the lack of fight and fierce for LeBron. And when you think about it, everybody talk about switching eras, right? If we switched eras and put LeBron in Jordan's shoes, you have to ask yourself this one question. Would he have propelled to the next level, did what it took to overcome the Pistons? And I had to take a reality check and just look at my GOAT and because when you think about when he gets fouled in today's NBA, which is nothing like what we had back in the 80s and 90s, he's flopping. He got caught peeking out on his, did they see me? Do they see me faking? Like he's crying to the refs. And what did Jordan do? He said, okay, I got you. The Pistons knocked him to the ground 3 seasons in a row and spanked him. He said enough. It was so deep for him until in his last dance interview, he said that he hates them to this day. Oh, and my man went and fought and he bulked up. He got that endurance going in him and that stamina, and he did what he needed to do. And they took care of them Pistons. Pistons didn't even want to shake their hand when it was over with. He embarrassed them boys. Sayonara. Because the other thing that I did was I looked at Bron had to go against the best team ever constructed. And I still believe that the Warriors with KD is the best team ever constructed, right? And he beat them without KD, but he couldn't beat them with KD. So I look at those losses and I was like, that was the best team ever constructed. But when we tear down what Jordan had to go up against, the players that he had to go up against, he had too many teams and players in his era that he had to go up against. Bron only had one team really that was built tough. Now I know, it was some other teams out there, but I'm saying like that really stopped him. They didn't call it the Eastern Conference for no reason. In the East, I'm not counting nobody. Because even if my Hawks, Jeff Teague and Al Horford and Paul Millsap, all them, and Kyle Korver, listen, I was in the arena. LeBron and them came through and just whooped them boys right on up and sent them on by their way. So I'm not going to count those teams like that had good regular seasons. You didn't show up in the playoffs. Them LeBronto teams, the Baby Raptors, no, we're not counting them. So all in all, I just feel like when I thought about it and I thought back on the late 80s and the early 90s when Jordan was doing his thing, all them teams that I named in that Neek video, guess what? Guess who else had to go up against him? Jordan. And there were some teams that I didn't name, so we're going to talk about all of them. So Jordan got 6 rings going to 6 finals. And yeah, Bron got, 4 rings going to 10 finals. I do feel like Bron deserves some credit from going to that many finals in a row. And then I know the Bron haters like, well, he lost them. You gonna count him? But yes, because when you think about all the guys that didn't make it to finals that, should have, could have. When you think about those players that didn't even make it to the finals, super players that are Hall of Fame, top 75, all this, that didn't make it, I gotta give him a guy credit for it. So, but anyway, Jordan, he went 6 times, got 6 rings. He had a career of 30 points, 6 boards, 5 assists. That's his career averages, solid. Shot 49.7 from the field and 32.7 from 3. So he had to go through the Celtics, Bird, Parrish, McHale. The Bucks had Ray Allen and Cummins. Pacers, you had Reggie Miller and them boys over there. Reggie Miller was cold. He was the first guy that had us at all with draining his 3-pointers. Cavs had Brad, Daughtry. I mean, the East was stacked. Kevin Willis and Neek with the Hawks. I mean, he had them coming his way. Them boys was coming at him. It wasn't just the Pistons. Shaq and Penny was in Orlando. Patrick Ewing and Oakley didn't make it easy for him. They had that little point guard, John Starks. I want to say Mark Jackson was out there too. I know he was in Indiana at a spell as well. Them boys was just, the East was stacked, you hear me? And then Charles Barkley with the Sixers. Then when he went to the West, he had to deal with Charles Barkley with Phoenix Suns. And like I said, I was giving Bron so much credit because of the Warriors, but in reality, Jordan had far more to deal with. And we don't want to talk about what he went through with them Pistons, boy, in the East. I saved them for last in the East because them Pistons are the ones that really, I'm sure Jordan owe his career to. Because they put that motor in him. They put that battery in his back because they came for him consistently. Always coming at Jordan. The Pistons had Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer. I hated Bill Laimbeer. Hated him. Could not stand Bill Laimbeer. And because of my hate for Bill Laimbeer, whoever the Pistons played, I'm going for the other team. But they knocked this man down over and over. He had to get up and just keep coming back. They knocked him down. They did it. It wasn't personal to Jordan. They did that against whoever they played against, but there was certainly a Jordan rule around the league. They weren't the only team that did it. He had to fight against the Utah Jazz as well. What's his name? Malone. Stockton was there. The Rockets had Clyde the Glide and Elijah One, that he was battling. Regular season, playoff games. Spurs had David Robinson and Avery Johnson. And doing this research, I'm like, oh my God, how did I forget about all these teams? Like how? Again, out of sight, out of mind. I grew up watching these teams and how hard they played. Jordan had a lot to overcome. And there I was crowning LeBron as my GOAT because of one team, at most 2 players, Durant and Curry. Jordan had a plethora of players and teams to go through. Like I said earlier, Charles Barkley had moved to the East and he was with the Suns with Kevin Johnson. Them boys weren't playing. Of course, you had them Lakers, Magic and Kareem. He had to go up against them too. Back then, you had Seattle Supersonics. Now they've moved to Oklahoma City. But you had Gary Payton and Sean Kemp out there. Them boys were serious as well. So Jordan just had far more obstacles and hurdles to go through. I don't know, but let's just say I'm woke now. I'm woke. I'm back. Because at the end of the day, Jordan never gave up. He showed resilience. He showed a fight. He didn't flop. He didn't cry to the refs. He took care of it himself. After losing 3 straight years to the Pistons in the playoffs, getting ooped upside the head against the Pistons in the playoffs, he came and took them down. Matter of fact, I believe in 1991, they swept them and sent them on about their business. Sometimes I find myself as a LeBron fan getting frustrated with him, feeling like, dang, bruh, like you don't fight. It's been a struggle. And I think it all started because I wanted to see somebody overtake Jordan. I just wanted to see it. Just for the love of the game, I wanted to see a player. And when he was close, it's just like I started wanting it to be him, But the reality is he lost that hope when he lost to Dallas, when he lost to San Antonio, and when he didn't get at least one of those games against the Warriors after they got Kevin Durant. If I'm being honest, those three missed opportunities right there is what did it. I think that had he won those three and be sitting here with 7 rings, we'd be talking differently about him. But I knew that from doing how stacked the East was against my Hawks, I knew that I had a change of heart on who my GOAT was. Just from doing that research and looking, I was like, you know what? How did I forget this? How did I forget how tough it was in the East? Not just the East, the West as well in the 80s and 90s. How did I forget about this? And like I said, it was just, the love of the game and wanting to see somebody overcome him. But guess what? No one's done that. That's all I got. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. As always, stay safe. On to the next one. Peace.